Have you ever wondered why society expects men to be strong, unemotional, and always in control? This question sets the stage for our exploration into the deep-rooted societal expectations placed on men. Often we find ourselves entrapped within the confining walls of tradition, where masculinity is defined by strength, stoicism, and dominance. The societal pressure to conform to these traditional notions of masculinity can be overwhelming. It's like being trapped in a box, a man box, if you will. The expectations are high, the standards rigid, and the room for emotional expression is limited. This man box doesn't just exist in isolation, it's perpetuated by the media, reinforced by peers, and passed down through generations. We have to wonder though, what happens when the weight of these expectations becomes too burdensome to bear? Let's dive deeper into this matter and see how these expectations impact men's mental health. This is the journey we embark on today, a journey of understanding and hopefully, of change. To understand the current scenario, we need to go back in history and trace the origins of these expectations. So let's do just that, shall we? The concept of masculinity isn't a modern invention but a construct that has been shaped and molded across centuries and cultures. In ancient times, men were often expected to be the hunters, the protectors, the warriors. This was not merely a role they played, but an identity that was thrust upon them, a box they were expected to fit into. Move forward to the Middle Ages, and the concept of chivalry was born. Men were now not just warriors, but also gentlemen, expected to be brave, courteous, and honorable. Again, an evolution of the man box, but a box nonetheless. The Industrial Revolution brought about a shift from physical prowess to economic power. Men were now the breadwinners, expected to provide for their families. The man box had evolved yet again, but it was still a box, still a set of expectations men were expected to live up to. Fast forward to the 20th century and the world wars. Men were soldiers, heroes, sacrificing themselves for their countries. The man box had become a medal of honor, but also a heavy burden to bear. And then came the cultural revolution of the 60s and 70s, the rise of feminism, the question of gender roles. Men were now expected not just to be tough, but also sensitive, to be providers, but also partners. The man box had become complex, layered, a paradox of expectations. So we see that over time, societal norms have shaped and reshaped the concept of masculinity, each era adding its own expectations, its own rules to the man box. But through it all, one thing remained constant: the pressure to conform, to fit into this box. So, these historical norms have set a precedent, but how does it affect the men of today? Well, that's a question for the next scene. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the impact of the man box on men's mental health and well-being. Living up to these expectations can be a real challenge, affecting men's mental health in many ways. Imagine constantly being told to toughen up, to be the provider, to suppress your emotions. It can be draining, right? This is the reality for many men, who are often caught up in the man box. This box is not a physical entity, but a set of societal norms and expectations that men are pressured to conform to. The man box can be a real mental health hazard. It encourages men to bottle up their feelings, leading to increased levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. The pressure to constantly be the strong one can be incredibly isolating. It's like being trapped in a cage of expectations, with no room to breathe, no room to be oneself. And the worst part? Many men don't even realize they're in the man box. They've been conditioned to believe that this is just how things are, that this is what it means to be a man. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Being a man is about so much more than just being tough or strong. It's about being human, with all the complexities and emotions that come with it. The impact of the man box extends beyond just the individual. It affects relationships, families, and communities. Men who are unable to express their feelings may struggle to form deep, meaningful connections with others. They may feel isolated, misunderstood, and alone. This can lead to a ripple effect throughout society. Relationships may break down, families may be torn apart, communities may become divided, and all because men are being forced into a box that doesn't truly represent who they are. But it's not just about individual men, it's about how society as a whole is affected. So it's high time we start challenging these outdated notions of masculinity and start building a society where men can be free to express their emotions without fear of judgment or ridicule. Because in the end, we're all just human, and it's about time we start treating each other as such. The societal expectations on men don't just impact men, they ripple out and affect everyone around them. The stakes are high, and the ripple effect is profound. But how exactly does this ripple effect manifest itself? Well, let's break it down. In relationships, these expectations can create tension and misunderstanding. Men confined by the man box are often expected to be the providers, the problem solvers, the rock in a storm. This can lead to men feeling an intense pressure to succeed, to never show vulnerability, to always have the answers. This pressure can strain relationships, causing friction and misunderstanding as men struggle to express their emotions or admit when they need help. In families, the ripple effect can be seen in the ways fathers interact with their children. Fathers are often expected to be the disciplinarians, the ones who teach toughness and resilience. This can limit their ability to show affection, to be nurturing, to express love in softer ways. Children, in turn, may grow up with a skewed perception of what it means to be a man, perpetuating the cycle of harmful expectations. In communities, societal expectations on men can lead to harmful norms and stereotypes. Men are often seen as the leaders, the decision-makers, the ones who should be strong and stoic. This can marginalize men who don't fit this mold, leading to feelings of isolation and disenfranchisement. Additionally, it can limit the roles that women can play in these communities, reinforcing gender inequalities. The ripple effect of societal expectations on men is a societal issue, not just a men's issue. It impacts everyone, and it shapes the world we live in. It's a cycle, a self-perpetuating cycle that traps men in the man box and impacts everyone around them. And yet, despite these far-reaching effects, we as a society often fail to acknowledge this issue, let alone address it. It's time to break the cycle, to challenge these harmful norms and expectations. We've seen the problem, but what can we do about it? It's time to challenge these expectations and create a healthier, more inclusive concept of masculinity. We've journeyed through the origins of the man box, felt its impact and seen the ripple effect on society. Now let's roll up our sleeves and shatter this box to pieces. First off, we need to promote emotional intelligence. This isn't about a man suppressing his feelings, it's about understanding, managing, and expressing them in a healthy, productive manner. It's about recognizing that emotions aren't a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of being human, and that's perfectly okay. Next, we need to teach our young boys about empathy. It's about showing them that understanding another person's feelings and perspective isn't a threat to their masculinity. Instead, it's a strength that can build better relationships and a more compassionate society. We must also encourage open conversations about mental health. It's time we debunk the myth that talking about mental health is a sign of weakness. It's not. It's a sign of courage, of strength, and of an understanding that it's okay not to be okay all the time. Moreover, we must challenge the media's portrayal of men and masculinity. It's about reshaping the narrative, showing that a man isn't defined by his physical strength, his ability to suppress emotions, or his financial success, but by his character, his empathy, and his respect for others. Finally, we need to remember that change starts with us. It starts with challenging our own biases and assumptions, with being mindful of the words we use and the expectations we set. It's about creating a space where men can be their authentic selves without fear of judgment or ridicule. By breaking the man box, we can create a society that values men for who they are, not who they're expected to be. Let's work together to build a world where everyone, regardless of gender, can thrive and flourish. In this video, we've explored how societal expectations on men can negatively impact their mental health and well-being. We've journeyed through the historical origins of these expectations, cemented in the confines of the man box, a set of rigid rules and norms that society has imposed on men for centuries. We've seen how these expectations not only affect men's mental health, but also have a ripple effect on society as a whole. We've delved into the harsh realities of depression, anxiety, and emotional suppression, all of which can result from these stifling expectations. But it's not all doom and gloom. We've also explored how breaking free from the man box can lead to healthier relationships, improved mental well-being, and a more balanced society. Remember, it's time to redefine masculinity and create a healthier society for everyone. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Before we wrap up this video, we want to leave you with a call to action. We encourage you to challenge the norms of the man box in your own life and in your communities. Start conversations, raise awareness, and support the men around you in expressing their emotions openly. And remember, change starts with us. Let's redefine masculinity together for a healthier, more balanced society. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to subscribe to ThriveToSuccess for more content like this. We delve into a variety of topics aimed at promoting better mental health, personal growth, and societal change. We appreciate your support in spreading the message. Thank you, and until next time, keep thriving to success.